Hi, Gavin. It's Abdul speaking.
Hi there, how you doing?
Yeah, not bad. You?
Good, very good, very good.
Uh,
You had a quick look through the stuff I sent through yesterday.
sorry?
You had a quick look at the stuff I sent
Yeah,
through
yeah, yeah,
yesterday.
yeah. Of course, yeah. I've had a look at it yesterday.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
Good, excellent, excellent.
yeah. It was really interesting reading through some of the stuff. It was just some of the gaps, which I was thinking I could talk to you more about.
Okay, yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, if there's any kind of any further stuff or any bits and pieces, yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, yeah. So are you at work? Sorry to disturb you, by the way.
No, it's fine, it's fine. No, it's fine, it's fine. No, I'm not busy today.
All right. Now, just I was really interested because what was when I was looking into because I'm a graphic designer and I was looking into
Okay,
researching into data visualization, which we did a project
okay,
last year, and then when I started researching more into it this year as a project where we had to interview a client or agency which we liked, and I just started researching
okay,
into data visualization, and BBC data came up quite often and the research.
okay.
So I went looking into that. Then I obviously started finding to you and the Trace Media and everyone else. And then I just wanted to ask a few more questions because I was really amazed by like the data visualization. And last year when I was doing the project, it wasn't something which I was interested in. And this year when I started
Okay.
researching more into it, and it's just interested me a lot more into like what you do and the impact it has on people and stuff like that. Just
So what course are you on?
uh,
Is it kind of like is it kind of like graphic design?
yeah. So we're doing graphic design, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. But we do last year where we did a project on data visualization and the impact of data and stuff like that. So
Right,
this year
okay.
again we don't have to do a project like that, but I was just interested by the way in which data visualization from last year. It kind of kept me going, thinking of like the impact it has and how information is collected and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah,
So I mean as a bit of context, I mean the stuff that we do is kind of as you know, it's kind of interactive
yeah,
rather than um kind of infographics. So
yeah,
it's
yeah,
kind of
yeah, yeah,
like so
yeah,
we only do kind of like one kind of like small area of
yeah,
you know
yeah,
obviously what is quite a sort of like massive
yeah,
kind of extensive field. And I think also I mean a lot of our work is either kind of like research or visual arts based.
yeah,
So we do less in terms of I mean the industry really is driven by companies.
yeah,
Wanting to visualize stuff basically. So that's kind of
yeah,
like more typical kind of thing.
yeah. I get what you mean.
But yeah, as I say, a lot of our stuff is either academic or art based.
Yeah, yeah. What have you sought to communicate with your work?
So the so in terms of like I mean I try to answer some of the more general questions. So when you say what impact, so the first, just going from the top,
Okay, yeah.
what is it that interests you about data visualization?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I think that's a reasonable answer to that one.
yeah,
We're not. I think what we normally do is kind of like provide things that you know, tools that you can use essentially
of course, yeah.
to find things out rather than us finding what the story is. I think normally what we try and do is kind of like provide a thing that you know that will sort of keep your attention for some time, something that you kind of explore and navigate.
Yeah,
So I mean, in terms of how things have changed over the years, I mean, I would say that in terms of the sort of like general toolkit of data viz, in terms of different kinds of charts, kind of like bar charts, pie graphs, all this kind of stuff. I mean, all that kind of thing is pretty much bedded down, and these sort of like simple techniques have been there for a long time and are good and they work really well. But I think it is quite an interesting question because I think what's happened now is that with kind of like computational visualization, I think the fact that you're able to kind of like dice and splice data, I mean that really has changed things quite a lot. I mean if you look at the kind of like data viz they use in the stock markets and the kind of like data visualization that you use for analysing kind of like complex, kind of like scientific data sets.
Yeah.
I think the sort of progresses in technology really have changed things massively. I mean, there are things that you just simply couldn't do before, and kind of like weirdly, as technology, as the scope of increases, the data sets increase in size and so on, you're actually able to kind of analyse new phenomena.
Yeah.
So I think there's kind of the basic thing, as in obviously all this stuff is seen by end users using devices, and that's one thing that influences kind of like what you can do and how things are perceived. But another, as I say, the sort of the underlying data sets and being able to filter interactively, I think that really does change kind of like what you can do and what you can communicate. I mean, what it means is that you're I think that's was really an interesting thing. There's a thing that Andy Kirk wrote is about the difference between data visualization for analysis, which is kind of like what we do, which is kind of like trying to find things out.
Yeah.
And then there's kind of data visualization for communication, which is kind of like more like when you know what it is that you want to say,
yeah, of course,
and you're trying to find a way, and you're looking for the best way of saying it.
Yeah.
So I think typical, certainly in the area of graphic design, I think what you're more normally looking at is kind of like for communication. You want to kind of like tease a particular thing. Whereas I think probably what we more normally do is the analysis aspect of it, which it's actually not enormously clear what it is the data tells you, and it tells you lots and lots of different things. And it's we kind of like stop before reaching the point where we're actually saying, so what this shows is. So in terms of, you had a question further down, which was kind of like what are your findings? We tend not to do that part. I mean, for the art stuff.
All right.
It's not really, you're more looking at it's either kind of something more expressive or something that you're more a contemplative kind of thing. And for the science stuff we've done, it's a bit more like it's the scientists who will kind of like figure out what are the interesting and important things about it. So normally we provide tools to find things out rather than finding things out ourselves in a sense. Although having said that, what we've found is that it's very difficult for users. When presented, it's just like, I pick a search term to find something. I mean, giving users that, it's too much and it's too difficult. I mean, how would they, people want to see things immediately. So what we normally do is feed things with either interesting search terms or, interesting locations or something. So what we normally do is provide a few kind of routes into the interesting things. I think that's probably how it works in terms of what are our findings. It's normally we try to locate interesting sort of nuggets in the data.
Interesting. One other question was, so you would so in terms of how it impacts people and stuff like that after it moves on, where does it go on from after you finding the data sort of thing?
Sorry, say that question again.
What is the impact it has had on people, like from understanding information over the past years? Like,
right, okay. Well, I think we don't know. I think would be the fair. Or it's in a sense, it's not. That's not the side of things that we do. As I was saying, there's a few.
Things you don't.
In terms of your question, what power do you think? When you say what power, I presume you meant sort of like what influence.
Do
you think things? So I've given a couple of really, I mean, just every book cites these. I mean, the Florence Nightingale and the John Snow cholera thing. This is just like the most commonly cited things, and they are examples where people have discovered something extremely important and profound.
course.
from their from methods of presenting the data. We're not in that position really.
No problem.
I don't think there's anything that we've. I mean, we I think an awful lot of things. Our Wikipedia maps. There's an awful lot of surprising things that come out of that.
Yeah.
About which parts of the world, which languages are interested in. I don't think there's I don't think we're able to say, or we've not been in a position where there's been any sort of earth-shattering. It's not going to change government policy. Do you know what I mean? It's not. It's not a kind of. They're intended to do that. I mean, it's an interesting question.
No problem. One more last thing.
I think in relation to this thing about how does it influence people, I think normally what happens, I mean, as I say, Hans Ronsling is a very interesting example of someone who's got a really clear idea that you can use data visualization to educate people about. I mean, one has views about the world, and what it transpires is that more often than not, they're kind of 50 years out of date.
Yeah.
And that they're just simply wrong. It's kind of the sort of little factoids that we're all carrying around.
Yeah.
Are sort of often sort of largely mistaken. Yeah. So I think there's a sense in which data viz can be used to kind of try and try and demystify or to correct misconceptions people have about things. I mean, I think you see from this side of things, you see it in politics more than you see with the stuff that we do. I mean, for example, a classic one is obviously the amount that is spent on unemployment benefits, for example. It's a tiny fraction in relation to the cost of pensions. But the kind of it's used as a political kind of football to say, isn't it outrageous we spend all this money on the unemployed when in fact we don't at all. So obviously you can use data visualization to show actually these are the figures and this is the true case of the matter. But I think the problem is that simply being armed with the information often isn't enough. That it's kind of it depends where this information is shown, who shows it, how the information is described, what audience it reaches. Yeah. So I think there's a whole incredibly complex set of other issues around
the whole thing.
How visualizations actually influence opinion. I think the data is kind of one part of it, and there are a few examples of some absolutely incredible and brilliant things that have been done, but they've always been in the context of people campaigning and lobbying and presenting and demonstrating, and as part of a sort of broader education program.
Yeah. How would you say your experience has changed over time, within the field?
How has our experience changed over time?
Yeah.
I mean, possibly a small agency. I mean, our own experience isn't kind of strongly representative of how the industry is going or anything like that. I mean, I would say that probably 2 or 3 years ago there was a phenomenal amount of interest in data visualization. I mean, the Guardian is an interesting example. The Guardian data blog, often featured visualization stuff on the front page. That almost never happens now. I mean, that began to dwindle a year ago, and now it's you just don't see it. I mean, it's kind of like the news goes on at the front page of the Guardian online, and they're less likely to push data viz sense there was kind, in terms of like, there was a bit of a, was a very, very voguish a short while ago. And it's kind of ever so slightly less so now. What else can I say about that? I suppose in terms of our own experience of doing work, we pretty much decide what work we want to do. So it's not like we're sort of subject to sort of demands in the market. An awful lot of the stuff that we've been doing the last couple of years has been geographic and kind of like map based.
Yeah, I've seen. Yeah.
Which is very much our decision to kind of like do that.
Yeah, I've seen this.
And also we get, since so much of our work is either kind of like academic or comes from research grants. It's almost a little bit like we kind of, we put in proposals to do work on a particular thing. So that's sort of what dictates the work that we do. One kind of like consistent change that we've had is that we've been kind of like looking at bigger and bigger and bigger data sets, essentially. As technology has improved, the things that you're able to do become more elaborate. So that's kind of one change.
Interesting. Alright then, Gavin, I think you've answered most of the questions I've asked, and I've got a lot from the email as well.
Have you got enough information?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's enough.
What I was hoping is that the stuff that I've written down were kind of like quite sort of concise.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
probably rather less rambling.
Yeah, nice. Right. Yeah. What we've written is enough as well. No problem.
In terms of answering the other ones.
No problem, Gavin. Thank you so much for your time once again.
Okay, cheers.
No problem,
drop me a mail if you want to clarify anything else.
No problem. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Cheers. Thank you. Bye.